Hey, what's up guys? This is Mike from cashflowmma.com. Today I'm going to give you guys a preview of this weekend's UFC card. So let's get right to it. The first fight is Tahir Ulanbekov versus Alan Nascimento. Now this fight, Tahir Ulanbekov is a really big favorite. Right now the odds are around 125 to 129 for Tahir. And I think those odds are pretty inaccurate actually. Alan Nascimento has 13 submissions on his record, 18 wins. He has got a lot of different submissions: rear naked chokes, arm bars, bravo chokes, hooks, triangle chokes, and he also has a really high output. We haven't really seen much out of him, but in his Dana White Contender Series fight against Raulian Paiva, he had an output of 7, which is of course really high. And Tahir only has 3, and he also eats 3. So, but he has a really, of course, he goes for takedowns, 5 takedowns for 15 minutes with a 45% accuracy, which is of course really high. But then again, does he really want to be on the ground with Alan Nascimento? That's a really good question, and we are actually going with the underdog in this one, Alan Nascimento. Now we are not going to bet on this one, and we really maybe wouldn't recommend betting on it either. But if you like betting on underdogs, it could be a good fight to be betting on. So moving on, we have Magomed Mustafayev versus Damir Ismagulov. And if you checked our previous video that we put out this week, we had a parlay with Damir Ismagulov and Havid Basharat. That was in the Dana White Contender Series on Tuesday. So Havid Basharat dominated that fight. So now we just need Damir Ismagulov to win, and we have doubled our money. So let's cross our fingers. Damir Ismagulov is going to win this one. Like we talked about in the last video, we believe that he's going to keep this fight at the boxing range, and he just needs to avoid those really dangerous spinning kicks of Mustafayev, and use his boxing and outbox Mustafayev. His wrestling, Damir has got, to my surprise, I would say, underrated wrestling defense. Is really good wrestling defense. So I'm not too worried about Mustafayev's takedowns. What worries me would be his kicks, spinning back kicks, and yeah, that could potentially get a knockout. But we really feel like Ismagulov is going to win that fight. And we will talk about, we have actually got one more bet that we're going to make for this card, more than this parlay that we already have done. So let's move on. Here we have Yao Song-Hu versus Andrei Petrovsky. Now these guys are not really high level fighters. They both have quite a bit of holes in their game. Hu Yao Song, going to be the taller fighter, about the same reach. Of course, what we're going to see here is Petrovsky trying to use his wrestling. He's not going to want to stand with Yao Song, who had a pretty decent output in his last fight against Rashad Coulter. So I believe Petrovsky is quite a heavy favorite. Yeah, 141. This one is a little bit difficult to predict really, but most likely Andrei Petroski is going to get those takedowns and keep this fight mostly on the ground and perhaps get a submission. Yeah, it's most likely that's what's going to happen. But if Yao Song is able to stop a couple of takedowns and make Petroski work, this fight could get interesting, and Yao Song may have a chance. But the odds are probably more or less correct for this one, and yeah, we do have Petroski winning this one, but he also he has a lot of holes in his game, and we are not betting on this one. We wouldn't recommend anyone to bet on this fight, but we do believe Petroski should win this fight. Moving on, we have Makwan Americani versus Leron Murphy. And here Makwan is a really big underdog actually in this fight, and I actually am not so sure about this one. If I don't think he should be that big of an underdog really. Makwan Americani has taken down. He's basically yeah, he's taken down almost all of his opponents. He even took down Edson Barbosa, who has a really good takedown defense. He took him down 3 times. And Leron Murphy, he has a 41% takedown defense. So it's pretty likely that Americani is going to get him down at least at some point, and he is really dangerous on the ground. He may get the submission. He may be able to control Leron Murphy. So this fight is I think first of all the odds are they should be a lot more even, and we see this fight could go either way really. Leron Murphy could outpoint Makwan. He absolutely could do so. Striking, his boxing is better, and he could absolutely his output is better also. We are. This one is difficult to really say how it's going to go, but we are going to go with Makwan Americani on this one by submission. But yeah, it really could go either way. Maybe Murphy is going to survive some trouble on the ground and be able to outpoint Americani. It's hard to say. But we are going with Americani on this one. And next up we have Shamil Gamzatov versus Michal. Oh, these names are so difficult to pronounce. Oleksiejczuk. And there are like a lot of underdogs in this fight that could potentially win here. Well, actually, Shamil is not that big of a favorite. It's 167, 170 even. So yeah, this is a more close fight, and it should be. I'm just gonna say Michal. He has a lot of power in his hands, and the thing about this fight is that Michal, he has always come in like looking out of shape, pretty fat around the stomach, and always coming in like in really bad shape, and he won last time out against Blachowicz, and he has 10 knockouts of his 15 victories. Last time out he won a split decision. But the thing about Michal, about this fight, is that he really has the best shape that I think I have ever seen him in. So he's really coming in looks really well prepared for this fight, and I think the line perhaps should be even closer. At the boxing range, Michal, I do think Michal is more dangerous. His power, he has good boxing, and Shamil doesn't get hit quite as much, and I would say he's better defensively. But yeah, this one is also difficult to predict, but I think we're going with another underdog here with Michal taking this one by decision. He's probably going to get Shamil in some trouble, perhaps more than once. And with his new improved physique and probably cardio, he's probably going to be able to keep up a better pace over 3 rounds, and he should be able to bag 2 of those rounds. So we're going to go with Michal on this one also. And let's see here. Now we have another one here with Dos Santos versus the newcomer Benoit. Benoit being he's more of a, he likes to use his wrestling. He's actually been a SAS Special Forces, so that's pretty cool. And he's a purple belt. Now it's always difficult when fighters come in and have their first fight in the UFC to really know how are they going to perform. There is first of all, there is a different level of competition, and then there is the nerves and the how they are going to perform in with everything, the crowd and everything. So in this fight, Dos Santos is the favorite. I don't remember if we looked at it, but it's yeah, it's at 145 to 147 around there. So yeah, it should probably be the favorite in this one, but in this one it wouldn't either be too surprising because Dos Santos, if this were a stand-up battle, it would be a completely different thing. But if we look at Dos Santos' opponents lately, Kunchenko, Salikov, these guys, they don't use wrestling really. And last time he fought anyone that has like any kind of wrestling was Jingliang, and he took him down twice. And I also got 3 knockdowns, but the point is that he got 2 takedowns, and he has a 39% success on his takedowns. And that's kind of Benoit's game. He likes to go for the takedowns, so it wouldn't be, now we don't have any percentage on his takedowns, but I've seen a couple of double leg takedowns from him, and he's strong. He's a strong fighter, and it wouldn't be too surprising if he were able to take down Dos Santos. But the most likely scenario is probably that Dos Santos is going to catch him at some point. I don't think he's going to be able to submit Dos Santos. I really don't. And at some point, Dos Santos will probably connect with something heavy. So we are going with Dos Santos in this one. Hard to say how good Benoit's chin is, so we are just gonna say Dos Santos by decision in this one. And this is another one that is difficult to say really how Benoit is going to perform, but my feeling is telling me that the line should probably be closer than it is, but we are going with this on Dos Santos. So up next we have Albert Duraev versus Roman Kopylov. Now a lot of people are really they're really high on Duraev, and I mean they should be pretty high on him, I guess. But I would really like to see how he performs in the UFC to really before I really jump on his hype train. But he's fighting Roman Kopylov, who got choked out by Carl Robertson in his last fight. But that fight was, as I recall, it was a pretty crazy fight. Let's see here. He did stop 2 takedowns of Robertson. So, and Kolipo also is 8-1. He has 7 KO TKOs. Plus, yes, he's really fast. He's really good movement. He's a really fast fighter. And Duraev has been KO'd 3 times, which is quite a lot also. Now the last time was, 7 years ago, so it's a long time. And I'm sure he has improved a lot since then. But we are being careful about this one. We are not going to bet on Duraev in this one. It will be nice to see him, to see how he performs on Saturday, and we'll see. We will get a better read on him then. But yeah, we are going to say that we do think he's going to win this one. Although again, we this line should probably be closer than it is also. But we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. But we got Duraev in this one. And then we have Tukhugov versus Ramos. This is going to be a pretty fun fight because Tukhugov, he really doesn't throw so much, and that is something that Ramos is. He's going to. I think he's going to make this fight more exciting than Tukhugov normally has his fights. He's going to be in his face, and we are going to see some scrambles, and I think this is going to be a fun fight. And if I think that if Ramos can stay alive, I almost said stay alive and not get knocked out, I think he has a good chance to win this one. But Tukhugov is a favorite at 161, so it's pretty close fight, this one. He has a lot of power in his hands, and he's got 7 KO TKOs. And he actually went to a decision in his last fight versus Hakim, and he TKO'd Aguilar, and the fight before that, and a draw against Murphy. So I mean, this guy is really good, and a split decision against Carneiro. So you can tell, like, when he fights these guys that are really up there, like Hakim and Carneiro, he's still getting split decisions. So he definitely is really good. But I mean, so is Ramos. He's also really good. He did get TKO'd by Murphy, and he has shown in the past that he can get like rocked and knocked out, like he was against Nurmagomedov. So yeah. Again, we are like leaning to go towards going with the underdog in this one, but uh, something tells me that he might get knocked out here again. Defensively, he's not that great defensively, but you know what? We are going to side with the underdog again with this one. We are going with Ricardo Ramos to win this one, which should be a really fun fight, and a close fight. And if Ramos can just avoid those really heavy bombs and not get himself knocked out, we see him winning a decision here. But it's going to be perhaps a split decision. It's going to be a close fight. And then we have Amanda Ribas versus Virna Jandiroba. And now in this fight, Amanda is the favorite also, and we also got Amanda to win this one. See, Amanda last time out lost to Rodriguez, but before that she was on a 4-fight winning streak, and she'll have a slight reach advantage in this one, and she has a really good takedown defense also, even though Jandiroba has 53% takedown accuracy, so that's of course really high. But she actually has a lot of. She is a really powerful striker. So and Ribas has been hurt in the past, so it could be a little bit of a concern if Virna does connect with something. Ribas could get hurt and get TKO'd again here. But we're still going to side with Amanda Ribas in this one to win by decision. We see it as the most likely scenario. And then up next here we have Magomed Ankalaev versus Volkan Oezdemir. Volkan with heavy hands, and Ankalaev also a really dangerous fighter. Volkan losing his last fight against Proshka, and Ankalaev is on a really big winning streak right now. He has great takedown defense, and he doesn't really have that high output, but he doesn't get hit either. So yeah, this one is. Let's see here. Well, I'd say that he looks to be in really good shape here. Volkan often comes in like a little bit, doesn't come in like super shredded. This is another fight that I feel could. Let's see what the odds were again. Yeah, Ankalaev is a huge favorite in this one also, and I think the line should be closer. Again, I think the line should be closer. Yeah. Oezdemir has been, he can gas sometimes. And right now I feel like he's really underrated as a fighter. This one should be closer for sure, but we are going to side with Ankalaev in this one, but we are not going to be surprised at all if Oezdemir is going to hurt Ankalaev at some point in this fight, and maybe knock him out or take a decision. I think this fight should be a lot closer than it is, and I think that Oezdemir is I don't know why, but I feel like he's really underrated. So Ankalaev in this one by decision, but should be a close fight. These are all really great fights. This is a really great card. This one. So up next we have Jingliang against Chimaev, coming back from a really long time off from COVID. Chimaev with a big reach advantage. The stats are like pretty useless to look at because his fights has finished so quickly, and I think the only thing we can really take away from this stats is that takedowns. He's 75% success on his takedowns, and he's like bigger version of Khabib. We will see how he's going to fare up now when he comes up against better competition. But Jingliang is going to be a step up in competition, in my opinion, and he's also had a really long time off Chimaev, but we definitely have Chimaev winning this one. He should. I mean, Jingliang never has had extremely good takedown defense, so I think for Chimaev it's a good fight to come back. He gets an opponent that he's dangerous. He's a really good fighter, and it's a good test for Chimaev to see where he's at, and he's Jingliang, the leash is probably going to test him at least. So we get to see a little bit more from Chimaev, how he's going to fare against these better fighters. But yeah, we do see Chimaev getting takedowns in this fight and dominating Jingliang on the ground. But we do expect him at least to. Jingliang is at least going to put up some resistance. So it will be a fun fight. But we definitely have Chimaev in this one. So up next, then we have Alexander Volkov versus Marcin Tybura. Volkov with as always, height advantage and slight reach advantage. Much more technical striker. He has a good takedown defense. I would say great takedown defense, and great output. Very technical. He's actually got pretty decent takedowns himself also, and Tybura. I mean, one shouldn't count him out in this fight because Volkov has been taken down by single leg takedowns in the past, and Tybura, he does like to go for single leg takedowns sometimes. So I could see Tybura getting a single leg takedown, but I don't think he's going to finish Volkov, and I do see Volkov definitely winning this fight, probably by stoppage. But it wouldn't be too surprising if Tybura does get Volkov in some trouble, at least at some point in the fight. He's definitely going to go for those takedowns, and he may get one. He may get a takedown, and when Tybura gets someone down, he's really dangerous. He's a heavy fighter, and he knows how to control his opponents. So it could be. It could mean a little bit. It could mean a little bit of problems for Volkov, but we do see Volkov winning this one. We do see him getting back on the feet, or simply by the round ending, and at least he gets to get back on his feet and perhaps stop the takedowns in the next round. So we do see Volkov winning this one, and probably by stoppage. And then up next we have maybe a fight that I'm looking forward to the most. Well, I don't know, there are so many good fights on this card, but I'm definitely really excited for this fight. Dan Hooker versus Islam Makhachev. And there are so many people so high on Makhachev, and he definitely is it's an extremely good fighter. And they're saying like he's the next Khabib. And I would say one big difference with Makhachev and Khabib is that Makhachev doesn't have a good chin, and that is something that really puts Khabib apart from everyone else. Well, he was good at many things, of course, but one thing that set him apart was that he had such a good chin. So even when he got clipped, it really hardly. He did get stunned a couple of times, but yeah, that is something that Makhachev, he doesn't really have that chin. So that's why this fight is going to be it's going to be a fun fight. And Hooker has a 5-inch reach advantage. He has a 80% takedown defense, and he has a good guillotine choke. And of course, he has great output. He's taller, and he's really underrated in this fight. And we have Dan Hooker winning this fight, but it wouldn't be. I mean, he absolutely could get dominated on the ground, but the thing is that people are saying like that he's going to be backed up like Michael Chandler. But the difference between Chandler and Makhachev is that Chandler has so much power in his hands, so Hooker is not going to give the same amount of respect for Makhachev. He's going to be more. He's going to feel more confident in his stand-up. So he's going to give Makhachev more problems to get the takedowns, and yeah, we do have Hooker winning this one, but it's going to be super interesting to see how it plays out. We do see Hooker hurting Makhachev at some point in this fight. It could be a knee when he's coming in. It could be that he gets him in a guillotine choke. He has really dangerous guillotine chokes when he shoots in. Or yeah, his striking is so good. Also, Makhachev he's not on the same level. So I mean, there is no doubt for Makhachev to win this fight, he has to get this fight to the ground, and I mean, it's very likely that he's going to get it to the ground at some point, but it's also not too unlikely that this fight is going to be on the feet enough time for Hooker to hurt Makhachev, and at some point in the fight we do see Hooker getting that stoppage, but it's going to be close. It's hard to say about this one, but we do have Hooker winning by TKO or KO in this one, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree on this one, but we'll see what happens. I just know that Hooker is so underrated in this fight, He could absolutely get dominated on the ground, but most likely Hooker is going to surprise a lot of people and make this a more competitive fight than people first expected. And we also think that he's actually going to win by stoppage. So then we have another great fight, Peter Yan versus Caris Sandhagen. Well, I mean, Sandhagen, a taller fighter, as he usually is, well, actually a 3-inch reach advantage. He has a slightly higher output, but he's also eats slightly more punches absorbed per minute. And takedowns, I mean, here's Jan. Jan has 66% accuracy on his takedowns and a 90% takedown accuracy. I mean, this guy is almost impossible to take down. And defensively, he's just so good defensively. He has got really good defense. The one thing though that I see that he could be a little bit susceptible to is like a flying knee, because he has his hands up, and I feel like sometimes he doesn't have enough head movement. So I mean, a flying knee is something that could catch him. But other than that, we do see Peter Yan. He's the favorite. I think he's around 1.4 right now. And well, if anyone was wondering, that 1.4 is minus 265 as a favorite. So yeah, we have Jan winning this one. He is going to have the takedowns, and he's going to have the more powerful striking. Cory Sandhagen, he does have he may have the higher output at times, but we see Peter Yan landing the more significant strikes, and we wouldn't be surprised if he also hurt Sandhagen at some point. And also takedowns, we see him getting some takedowns, doing some damage on the ground. He's got some nasty ground and pound, and Sandhagen doesn't have that great takedown defense either. So yeah, we have Peter Yan winning this one, and most likely by decision. Sandhagen is so tough, and he's got a good chin, and he has got I mean, if it's not like a rear naked choke or something like that you're going to go to sleep, like he doesn't like to tap either, so we have seen it before. So this will probably be a decision. We got Peter Yan winning decision, and we're going to talk really soon about our bet also here. We have one more bet. We have the parlay that we mentioned before, but we also have one more bet. But we have one fight left here. Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira. And this is a really fun fight also. I'm a huge fan of Glover Teixeira, and it would be so cool if he could finally get that belt. It would make me so happy, and I really hope he gets that belt. But this is going to be really difficult for Glover Teixeira. He has really, it's so funny, Teixeira has transformed like completely from being a one-dimensional boxer to now he's a wrestler. So yeah, now he has a 40% success on his takedowns, which is pretty high, and Blachowicz has a 65% success on his takedown defense. And output wise, they are around the same. Teixeira does absorb more punches though, and he's been like in all his latest fights here, he's been really hurt and almost stopped. He was like out and he got hurt and he was almost like brought back to consciousness. So he has had some really crazy wars in his last fights, and I mean Blachowicz, he won against Adesanya. Very few people thought he was going to win that one, and then he won against Reyes and Anderson. So I mean, he is on a really good run, and he has been looking really good lately. And we do think Blachowicz, unfortunately, because I really do want Teixeira to win this one, but we do have Blachowicz winning this one, and most likely he's going to get a knockout in this one. Teixeira, I mean, especially with all the fights that he has now lately, and really in all his career. But in his just in his last fight, also it could be even more. His shin could be even more weaker now because he took a lot of damage in his last fight also. And of course, he's what is he now? 43, 42. He's 42. So yeah, we got Blachowicz winning by TKO or KO. Could be early, but I'd say in round we're going with a round 2 TKO for Blachowicz, but yeah, I hope that Teixeira wins. So for our bet here, if we do win this Ismagulov parlay that we have, I would recommend that you bet half of that money, or all of it. It's up to you. But I think we're going to bet half on Volko, another parlay Volko, and Peter Jan. So that should give you almost double your money there. So that's our parlay for this card. Is our second parlay. So again, Alexander Volkov and Peter Jan to win simply. And yeah, that's it. Enjoy the fight, guys, and see you soon.